Welcome to Car Habit Garage. My name is Eddie Mello, and on today's show, we're going to talk about spending between $20,000 to $90,000 to engine swap and build the E36 that you really want to have. So with that, I'm going to show you a bunch of different examples, and you can kind of get an idea of what people have done and paid for in doing their own engine swaps. I was actually really blown away. When I first started to try and build this video, I was really kind of saying, like, what are the average selling prices for cars that have had engine swaps? And like the old saying is, you know, it's really the car is worth what someone will pay for it. And usually when you put a whole bunch of money into a car, you usually never really get it out. Unless, of course, it's, you know, original, in perfect condition, low mileage, etc. And even then, you know, it's not necessarily an investment, but it is definitely a fun thing to do when you do these engine swaps. So, you know, on today's show, you know, it's kind of like, how much would you pay? You know, and I found examples from $20,000 to $90,000. And swaps that include S54s, SR20 DETs, Nissan motors, obviously LS swaps, and then a 2JZ swap as well. And all of these are fairly common across the E36 platform. But let's talk about the prices and about the cars a little bit and kind of understand why we think they didn't sell for more, or maybe they were adequately priced. So the first one I'm going to go to is a 1998 BMW E36 with an LS1 and a turbo on it, putting out about 500 horsepower. It sold on November 16th, 2020. And, you know, it had an LS1 V8. It had 9 pounds of boost pushing it. The LS1 itself had 110,000 miles on it. And if you look at the interior, you can see some Recaro seats. It really looks more like a drift car. It's really a nice shaded Alpine white. Had some replica wheels on it. It looks like it was done correctly. The AC worked and it had a custom stereo, but I think it might have looked a little too, on the outside it looked good. I think on the inside, probably need a little more love, but I think someone got a pretty fun car for $20,500, and this one was based out in Florida. So very cool. That's our first look at LS swap. The second one we're going to look at is this SR20 DET swap, S15 Spec. It was a Spec R. It's a 1995 BMW E36. It sold for $32,500 on June 22nd, 2020. It had a turbocharged 2.1 liter SR20 DET inline 4 from Nissan S15. It had a whole bunch of goodies on it, like an HKS GTRS turbocharger, and you know, it came with a Spec R 6-speed manual transmission. The attention to detail on this car, there was lots of photos, but look at that interior. It was done really nice. I didn't know much about an SR20 engine. Obviously, they got it. It's still, once again, this was a 318, it wasn't an M3. So I don't know what their costs were in it, but they were looking to get rid of it for about $32,500. This was a nicely done one. It was in Miami. So with that, let's take a look at number 4 here, or actually number 3. This one was, once again, it's a 96 BMW, once again white. Seems like a lot of these cars are white. It was for sale in Houston, Texas for $45,000. The project had started with the guy 6 years ago, and he had all the build documents and receipts. He spent about $90,000 in parts and labor. And under the hood was, you know, a stroked LS2 V8 built by Texas Speed, taking out 515 horsepower at 93 octane with a 6-speed TR6060 Tremec manual transmission power. He used Vorschlag parts, drive shaft, and an M3 diff, etc. It used a Vorschlag kit to do the swap, and he had reinforcements. So there was a lot of things done on this car: Brembo brakes, lightweight competitive rims. You know, this was really a track car. I mean, if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the inside. It was truly meant to be someone's track car. So guy spent $90,000, was looking to get half his cost back. Probably be a really fun vehicle for someone, especially if you're looking for a track car that's already set up and ready to go. You know, like I said, it's a very special person that's looking for a track car. So it'd be interesting to find out what he really got for the car. So now let's go to the S54 swaps, because that seems just like a natural thing to do. You know, if you look at the European, the S50 B32 engine that they got versus what we got here in North America, the S54 basically gives you that and more, right, out of the E46 M3. So here was this Estero blue one by Harry Shine, and he actually has a couple YouTube videos while he was building this. This car looked great. Estero's the right color. He did the swap when he was living in California. You know, one of the things I think, it had a little bit of rust, but nothing major. It was an easy fix as well. The AC wasn't working, and it had a check engine light. The other thing was he was in California, and he didn't go get this thing make it carb legal, right? So all those things tend to drag. You know, when you're doing a build, I mean, this is a nice job, and whoever bought this car, I think, got a hell of a good deal at $22,500 on March 10th. But, you know, as a builder, I think you can get so much more for the car if you do the attention to the details, the last 10%. Getting it here, for those of us that live in California, and there are 40 million people, it's, you know, is it legal to drive in the state, you know? Has it been through the ref? Does the AC work? It gets hot outside. I mean, you know, I don't want to roll the windows down. I want real air conditioning. Does it blow? You know, what's the interior like? Has it been upkept? All those things. So, you know, I think this was a nice example, beautiful color. And my hat's off to Harry for like just doing it, going for it, and replacing it with an S54. I think that's the engine of choice for most people that are true BMW enthusiasts. Let's take a look at one that I think was even done better. This one was an S54 Powered 1993 BMW 318i Coupe. Now, this did not meet reserve, but it was eventually sold. The highest bid was almost $21,000, as you can see. Park Place in Bellevue, Washington was selling it. But CG Motorsport actually did all the work. I mean, the interior was beautiful. The bunny kit, the wide body bunny kit on it was done really well. The paint was done well. I mean, you know, it didn't have AC, and the S54 did have 120,000 miles on it. So, I mean, I could see those things detracting, but the overall build quality looked phenomenal. Once again, this was a Washington car, even though it was sold to someone in California because they did sell it. You know, that person now has to go either get, you know, out-of-state plates and or get it carved at the bar referee. But I think this was, you know, this was just beautifully done. I saw it with the M parallels on it and thought, wow, that is a smoking car. You know, nicely done build. I think they started it in 2015. Let's go to the last one, and this one was an interesting car. I don't know if this sold or not, but this was a 2JZ Estero Blue E36 1998 M3, asking $60,000. I saw it on eBay. I never saw it on Bring a Trailer or Cars and Bids. It had racing seats in it. The interior looked good. It was nicely done. Supposedly it had some crazy amount of horsepower, like 1,500 horsepower. You know, a really interesting build, right? I don't know how many people are going to be able to drive a 1,500 horsepower car, but, you know, the color on the outside, the way it was done inside, $60,000. I got to believe that anything with 1,500 horsepower was probably not carb legal. And this person was living in San Diego, so I'm not sure, you know, if you could actually drive it legally in the state here. But, you know, there's a lot of other places where you could probably make it work. But with that, you know, like I said, we've looked at a bunch of different cars today, all the way from the LS1 that looked like it was done in someone's, you know, probably home garage. They did a really nice job, sold it for almost $21,000, all the way to someone who spent $90,000 to build an LS2 track car. I still think the S54, there was a recent S54 swap that I didn't include because it didn't actually sell, and that was around $22,000, but it was a sedan, it wasn't a coupe. You know, people put a lot of money, and that one was done really well. It was done by Castro Motorsports. And by the way, if you're looking to do an S54 swap, not that this is an infomercial for Castro, but when I was doing homework for my LS swap, his name, I actually talked to him. He supposedly does a lot of really great. There's a lot of videos about the work he's done on some other cars, and he seems like the guy to go if you really want an S54 swap. And I'm sure that he could get it carb legal as well. It wouldn't be that much of a hoop for him. But with that, guys, if you like what you heard today and you want to hear more, we love the E36 platform. Smash the subscribe button. Give us your comments. It's the most important thing. I don't get better unless you guys tell me what you want to see and how I can do. And tell me if there's some other cool projects or if you know some really cool cars that you want to see reviewed. there. Take care and have a fantastic day. Thank you.